The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Hello and welcome into episode 31 of our podcast, Mossy Creek Conversations. I am the voice of the Eagles, Adam Cavalier, proud to be joined by the Spanish voice of the Tennessee Volunteers and also a former All-South Atlantic Conference kicker at Carson-Newman, Carlos Lopez. Carlos, vamos Vols. Thank you for taking some time out of your preseason festivities and joining me for what is going to be a meandering chat through a lot of things that are interesting potentially to me. And I'll let you pick where we begin.
Oh, man.
Because truly, I could go down the weeds with you about broadcast stuff. So I want to get into that. I want to get into Vamos Vols, but I also want to get into reminiscing about your days on the banks of Mossy Creek as a guy that's still in the record books in 18 places as a kicker. So I'll let you choose. Where do you want to begin this Mossy Creek conversation?
Well, first of all, Adam, I appreciate the invite. As I'm driving up the hill and I'm looking at the Eagle and I'm looking at just Berkstar Stadium and that sign, I think they put that sign on, Garrett Wyatt practice facilities. Yeah. And I'm just thinking about those 3 days that we had. And I specifically remember, Coach Sparks would always talk to us about those watermelon days. And we looked so forward to those watermelon days. And even as a kicker, he did not like us to not do anything. So we always had to look busy. We were always sweating. But for us to start the reminiscence, man, let's go back. Let's go to my times here at Carson-Newman.
You bring up 3 days. Those ended. Those ended. No longer a thing.
No.
The fall camps of days past are now outlawed by NCAA rules. But you bring up watermelon days. Not quite the close of camp under Ken Sparks, but toward the end, almost hey, you've pulled this off. That coupled with the baptisms in Mossy Creek, kind of a little 1-2 punch for the close of Carson-Newman camp under Ken Sparks. What do you remember from those days that you carry with you from the fight, the grind, for the reward of some
But you definitely remember those 4 a.m. wake-up calls with Coach Turner. If anybody knows Coach Turner and Coach Whitley and Coach Redding, and Coach Needs over here, those 4 a.m. wake-up calls, everybody going to breakfast together, just really the brotherhood. I think I'm walking in, there's a little bit of changes, and one of those signs now is brotherhood, and that's really what we had. What I really remember the most, which I still keep in touch with some of those guys, that 2008 class that we signed. And then you remember that midnight train. We signed a lot of guys that wanted to come over here and, better themselves. But then there was in that 2008 class, there was about 6 or 7 of us that lasted through the whole program. And, you got Zeke. We called each other True because in 2008, out of those 7 or 8 guys, there was only 2 of us that started as true freshmen. So we called each other True. And it was just the brotherhood, waking up, going to eat breakfast, the relationship that I built with the special teams. I remember Coach Sparks lining us up. And there was a lot of kickers here at that time, a lot of kickers and punters. The competition was one of those words that we had to compete. Every week was competition. Not everybody was guaranteed a spot. And that's what I truly like, because now, you're talking years down the road, and now we're in a position that we're at, and really every day we're competing for a spot. Every day we're competing. So that's what I remember the most is, competing, the relationship, the brotherhood, the coaches, the kudzu over here, and the hot. I remember that little hill that we got down here, having to run, and you're sweating for 2 hours straight, and you're just waiting for that cold tub at the end.
It wasn't the most glorious start to your kicking career here. You bring up to 1 of 4 as a true freshman, but 2009 certainly you found your footing. All-SAC season, Second most PATs in a year in school history. One of 2 guys in school history to make better than 90% of their field goals in a single season. Yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Yeah, I don't think people realize the quality of kicking that is in the Vamos Vols booth between you and Fuad Revez.
I knew that I had a pretty good year, and I'm glad that you brought back that 2008 season, because may God have him in his glory. Tillman Hollenshed, I don't know if you remember him. He passed away. May God have him in his glory. Ever since after those years of, and I remember like it was yesterday, it was a 25-yard left hash kick. It was to tie the game against Newberry in 2008, and it was a foot to the left. And I was destroyed. We were going to tie the game. We ended up losing the game, and I went 1 for 4 that year as a freshman. Having started great, I think our first game was against Bentley University. I go 8 for 8 on PATs just because we didn't have to kick any field goals. Just a fantastic start. And then at Newberry is when I missed 3. At Newberry, I go 1 for 4, and at Newberry, I missed 3. But then that 2009 year we turned it up.
You are the only guy this century to make 2 last-minute game-winning kicks.
Wow.
Did it in 2009. Talk about retribution.
Yeah.
Newberry.
That game was in
a deluge.
foot of rain.
16 fumbles combined between the 2 teams, and then did it again as a senior. Literal triple zeros on the clock against Brevard. To go from that freshman, obviously some growing pains. Where did your trust come from that things were going to work out for you on the field?
I think it all goes back to that mentality that those coaches installed in us. Man, as I'm driving up here today, I can hear Ken Sparks. Ken Sparks never greeted anybody with a hello or anything like that. The first thing that he said is, "How's your heart?" Which, I'm telling you, Adam, we're years down the road, brother. Yeah. We're years down the road. And now I'm circling back and say, hey.
We can't turn the cameras, but one of the TVs in the locker room has Ken Sparks on it, and the football can be used as a tool to bring people to the Lord.
Absolutely.
That's what I want to do.
Which is, now you're talking, my last year was here 2011. It's 2023 when Vamos Vols started, 2024, 2025. And football is literally uniting people in a way through Vamos Vols that I would have never imagined. And it was through the times here, those growing pains as a freshman, and literally seeing the look on my brother's faces when I missed those kicks. But I do remember Joey Scribner-Howard. He was the kicker here as well. He said, "Carlos, everybody misses." But going back to Tillman, every single year since I graduated through the time that he passed away, every year when a kicker missed a field goal, whether it be college or whether it be NFL, every year he would always remind me of the Newberry kick in 2008. But I always remind, hey, that was 2008, but do you remember what happened in 2009? And we're talking, you go from missing 3 in 2008 to losing the game to 2009, going 3 for 3, and the last one was, I think it was like a 35-yarder right hash. 35-yarder right hash. I'm talking a foot of water. I still have the newspaper article clipping. Chris Jones, NFL punter, he is holding, the ball is coming up. You can't see the ball. It's just water. And for that ball to go through the uprights and for us to win that game, amazing.
I'm shocked. Again, wasn't here. I'm shocked in a game that featured 16 fumbles. I don't care that Carson-Newman's running the option. I know Newberry wasn't running the option at the time, but for a game to feature 16 fumbles and 3 made kicks does not feel real.
It does not feel real. It was something, I mean, every other play, it was a change of possession. Every other play was, everybody was, I mean, I'm looking at the field, And everybody's okay, we got to get ready for offense or we got to get ready for defense. But all I knew was, like, as soon as we cross the 40-yard line, this game is going to come down to a special teams play.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think like a couple of days after that, I think you interviewed me.
No, I wasn't here in 10. That would have been Zeke Beam.
Zeke Beam.
Yeah, there you go.
And
I have been here a minute. But I haven't been here that long.
Zeke Beam was here, and I think the days following that, and that was the title of all the newspaper clippings is Redemption for Lopez,
Yeah.
or Ole for Lopez, because the locker room was Ole, 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 Ole. It was, and then that set the tone. That Newberry game set the tone for the rest of the 2009 season, and then we ended up going to the national semifinals.
You have such an interesting journey. Just forget Vamos Vols.
Yeah.
I could talk to you about your journey here, and that would be enough. Venezuela to Tennessee as a soccer player, and then you decide to kick in high school. How did this all come about to where you end up kicking for Carson-Newman?
This story is the one that's been getting a lot of the highlights this past couple of years. We have now been featured in the largest Hispanic network in the United States, Telemundo Deportes, as the first ever Spanish broadcaster for Tennessee Athletics. We have been playing football since 1891 at Tennessee, and for an immigrant from Venezuela to be in that position now, first of all, if anybody knows anything that I post, if anybody knows anything about me, then they know that God gets the credit for everything that I've done. God gets the credit for everything that I'm doing, and God will receive the credit for everything that I will continue to do. But none of this would be happening if it wasn't for the sacrifice and the courage that my mother had to fight against the dictatorship of Hugo Chavez in 1998. She was an accountant for the National Police. And in 1998, when Hugo Chavez started his campaign for the presidency, he asked for all the government workers 20 to 30% of their paycheck that would go to him. And my mom said, wait a minute, is this voluntarily or is this a have to? And when she signed no, she was the only person out of 300 employees to sign no. A week later, she was fired. A couple of weeks later, she was getting politically harassed, remember that you have kids. And she started taking that as threats. She decided to leave Venezuela, come to the United States, not for her, but it was so that her two boys could have a better future. And I was not going to know what my mom did for me and just take that for granted. I land in Seymour, Tennessee, in East Tennessee. I'm playing soccer all through Seymour. Gary Householder said, hey man, you can kick a soccer ball pretty good. Can you try this out real quick? So my sophomore year is when I started kicking a football. Great season.
Yeah.
Junior year, wait a minute, we might have something. Senior year, you're talking 55 plus yard field goals, game winners against Gibbs, and a fantastic season. And then Coach Whitley, shows up at Seymour High School, and thanks to him, I end up, because I didn't know, I'm a soccer player. I didn't know really much about American football except Seymour.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about SEC. I didn't know about college athletics like that. All I knew was the NFL because everybody loved Peyton Manning, so we were all fans of the Indianapolis Colts. So I come through Carson-Newman 2008 to 2011 that I graduated this program.
I want to go back to your time in Venezuela. You would have been what, 8?
I was migrated when I was 11.
Okay. Did you have any idea what was happening in those moments, or is this stuff that you've gained upon reflection?
I didn't know at that time what was going on. I just knew the look of my mom's face.
Sure.
She came home and she looked scared. And she came home one night and said, I'm leaving. You guys are staying with your grandparents, but I'll be back. And, I'm 9 years old at that time. So she leaves in 99. We stay with our paternal grandmother. She comes back in 2001 to come and get us. And through this, you're 2 years, a year and a half without your mom, keeping the communication, but technology is not like it is now. So we had that big square flip phone, talking to her. But she said, she would always tell us, it's going to be good. What I'm doing here is good. 2001, we end up here, but growing up in Venezuela, we had to grow up fast.
Yeah.
You're talking, I had to take 3 public buses to get to my school. It was even my own children, they don't even walk to the trash can by themselves. I help them. You know what I mean? And I'm going back to Venezuela, and I'm taking a Jeep, and then I'm taking 2 public buses to get to my school when I'm in 5th grade. And I'm like, what?
You brought up your own children there. I would presume, I think all of us, we know that our parents love us.
Yes. I hope so.
I think,
yeah.
But there's a deeper appreciation for that love once you have children of your own.
Oh, man.
Now that you have children,
yeah,
reflecting on what your mother did for you, how much more gratitude does that give you?
Well, I think, I always feel like I'm not doing enough for them. I think one of the greatest gifts that I've been able to give my children is kind of what I've learned here. Now they're growing up in church. Mm-hmm. We go to church on a weekly basis. My son, who's 4 years old, he prays, but he says, God, can you please bring me a puppy? But, at least he's saying God. He'll go with God. Can you please bring me a cat and a puppy? And thank you for my mom and my dad and my sister. Amen. And then that's it. But he's always praying for a cat and a puppy. My daughter, who is 12 now, they have. But that's the greatest gift that I've given them is knowing. Now my daughter's older now, so she understands. Every night, I tell her the only thing this is just me and you. I'm going to pretend that there's not even any cameras here. The only thing that's important in this world, regardless of what we do, is your personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Yeah. That's what I tell her every day. But now she's seeing, and we'll just skip ahead a little bit. We were at Lindsey Nelson covering a region game, and she came with me. And every 3 steps that we took, it was, Vamos Vols, Vamos Vols. So she was looking at me and looking at everybody else. And I told her, none of this will be happening if Abuela, Grandma, if Abuela wouldn't have done what Abuela did for us, we wouldn't be doing this. So I hope that you can see now what I'm doing is not for me, because we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Everything that I've done is not for my own satisfaction, is for what God commands us to do, to reach as many nations as possible and to spread the gospel of God. But the second gift, now reflecting in everything that I've done, because graduating from Carson-Newman, I got a degree in Spanish as a profession. Both of my kids are bilingual. Yeah. They speak Spanish and they speak English. And that's been, well, look what it's turned out to be. In a world that we live now, where the devil is trying to attack us left and right, and all it's trying to do is separate us, a language, Spanish, is uniting many nations to one color. Yeah. And that's 151C. I mean, it's and now it's Vamos Vols.
I would argue Ruben Pizarro Silva would prefer it be a little more burnt shade of orange.
That I can't believe you said that name.
Voice of the Texas Longhorns for
Ruben Pizarro has been, and man, I'm glad that you mentioned him, because I talk to him on a bi-weekly basis. Yeah. We're always talking now. But Ruben now calls me the different era of broadcasters. Yeah. He's been broadcasting the Texas Longhorns for 34 years. Yeah. And we reached out to each other on Instagram, and he said, Carlos, what you have done in this 19 months, we're going back to 23, 24, and what you've been doing in this past couple of months and this year, I've never been able to do. Your reach on social media. We live in a different era now. We have streaming and podcasts and radio. It's not like it was when he was broadcasting, but to have his support, and just for him to say, you are now in a different level of broadcasting, what an amazing honor. And it's thanks to him and his team. He was the first person to broadcast the first football game. His mentor was the first person to broadcast the game in Mexico, and now he brought that to the Texas Longhorns. And now, you know, if Texas and Oklahoma would have not joined the SEC, we would have become the second school in the SEC with Spanish broadcasting, Texas A&M being the first, but now we became the fourth school.
You know, I bring him up. I was at a broadcasting conference in Austin in 2009. Again, clearly this is what I enjoy. But I thought it was the coolest thing in the world that Texas, we got to tour DKR Stadium. Thought it was the coolest thing in the world that they had a space reserved for Spanish language crew. But demographically, makes a ton of sense for a school like Texas A&M. I think of the Lakers have had Spanish broadcasts for years. Makes a ton of sense for Los Angeles to have that as a service. I would argue that your rise in Tennessee coincides with the fastest growing population base for East Tennessee is a Spanish language community, people that speak Spanish, regardless of country of origin. In Knoxville, certainly in Morristown. Have you gotten a sense that those two things have gone hand in hand with the development of Vamos Falls? Because certainly, I just think about St. Pat's in Morristown, 2 Spanish masses on Sundays. There seems to be a need for that in this community.
I had to do my research. When they started developing, it was for fun. I started doing it in 2022 when we beat Alabama. It was just a 30-second clip that I posted on Twitter, and it went super viral. And then I said, because in 2022 was when the World Cup was coming in that November. So I was like, I was listening to the ESPN announcers, and they were just, it was such a big game, Tennessee, and they weren't doing it for me. And I said, man, I think I could do this better. And then I just started, you know, as Princeton fan from the 2-yard line. Señores y señores, aquí está Tennessee, la ofensiva más rápida del mundo. Vamos a ver qué tiene Josh Heupel debajo de su manga. Aquí viene Princeton fan en la 3, 2, 1, dale 6. And that dale 6 has just blown up. Posted that clip, and then I start seeing comments. We want this more. We want this more. And again, it's something clicked that I said, let me do something real quick. I went on our athletic website at UT. I went through every single sports page, and I found every single last name that I thought would look Hispanic. And I was like, wait a minute, we have over 80 players that have Latin American roots, or they're foreigners. And now, you know, representation for me is so important. And I said, wait a minute, we got to do something. So I sent over 300 to 400 DMs or emails, and one person replied me back, and that person had a Hispanic last name, Ojeda. She just happens to be our women's tennis head coach. I sent her that message. She was in the SEC championships for tennis. She says, call me in a couple of hours. I'm in the SEC championship, but I love everything that you're doing. We got to talk. That's where Vamos Vols with Carlos Lopez grows, where I now get to go inside the university and I interview all of our Latin American players. Through her, those videos get shared within the university. Boom, it gets to the office of the AD, but I have to do my research now. We have 8 states that border Tennessee. Not a single one of them have what we have. Not Tennessee. Between those 8 states, there is now close to 5.1 million Latinos that we are not reaching. Now, guess what? now Vamos Vols is nationwide, and now Vamos Vols is in 14 Latin American countries. We have,
pretty awesome.
And that was one of those questions, like, you know, it didn't start in 2023. We only did 1 game in 2023 against UTSA. Now you're talking
for Spanish History Month, if I'm
for Hispanic Heritage Month, the first ever Spanish broadcast. Now you have San Antonio with just one city with 2+ million Hispanics. Now, and whoa, wait a minute. We upload 2 clips from that game on Instagram, and I think we reached like 13 million accounts.
Yeah.
And they were like, because that was one of the questions, do we have the demographic here in East Tennessee? My thought was not just East Tennessee. My thought was, look at our states. Look at everywhere. You know, are you trying to grow the fan base? And you know, to have the administration, Donde Plowman, Dr. Danny White, to have their support and for them to say this is important, it's been a blessing.
You alluded to Dale Cease, and I must say I am jealous of you. Because to me, I'm not a huge catchphrase guy.
Right.
But boy, the one that I wish I could use is give him 6.
Give him 6.
John Ward's catchphrase truly is, I've tried for 20 years to come up with something better.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it can be done.
Yeah.
Don't want to rip anybody off.
Yeah.
Yada, yada, yada. But Dale Cease.
Well, and I tell you what, and I've said this many times, I've just listened to Mr. Bob Kessling because Mr. John Ward retired after the 1998 season. I was not in the United States at that time. I did not know anything about John Ward.
Yeah.
When I do the first clip and Princeton Fent goes in and I say, Dale Cease, Dale Cease, Dale Cease. And there's like, what does Dale Cease mean? And I just said, well, it's a 6-point touchdown. It's give him 6. Everybody, and then I don't know if you saw on social media, they started calling me Juan Ward.
Yeah.
And now, a lot of people know me as Juan Ward, which going back, I started learning about John Ward. I went back on YouTube to the 1998 season and I listened to him call all of the games. And it was something that, wow. And then from that moment on, I did not listen. This is in 2022 when people, hey, you're the Spanish John Ward, you're Juan Ward, blah, blah, blah. I no longer listen to the games on the TV. I muted them and I started listening to Mr. Bob Kessling. Unbelievable. Yeah. 26-year career doing this. For Mr. Bob Kessling, we did a little thing together up at Neyland in the boxes. He was doing an interview and I went up there. And for him to say, Carlos, we actually thought about doing some sort of Spanish coverage a long time ago, but we just didn't have the right person. But now we do. I was just like, what is going on around here? Just to have their support. And now we got Mike Keith.
Yeah. Mike
Keith has been mentoring me before he even realized that he was coming to Tennessee. He was sending me all his stuff from the Titans. Yeah. Send me mail, send me all his game preparation, and then now, I have him right here, which we haven't had time to connect, but through the people that work there, hey, everybody's looking forward to us doing something together.
As a broadcaster, your path is truly fascinating, and I think you alluded to it. The virality creating the on-air opportunity for you. I don't think it would be appropriate to point to you and say, hey, you can mirror Carlos Lopez's pathway to broadcasting success. Geez Louise, it's like capturing lightning in a bottle, right place, right time, with an enthusiasm that is just, I don't know that it could be checked, which I would say is part of the reason for your success.
When you have Fuad Rivas, he's done it in the NFL, and which he didn't know if he wanted to do another broadcast again, for him to tell you, Carlos, as you're doing the play-by-play, and obviously we're both bilingual. He speaks English and Spanish, but for him to tell you the way that you call a game, it gives me goosebumps. And I'm standing right next to you, and that's what's been happening. It's bringing that soccer excitement of World Cup announcing to American football to give the audience some enthusiasm.
If you were to say, hey, give me your top Spanish announcer, I'd probably just by default go to an Andres Cantor. Soccer, the goal.
Absolutely.
Argentina. That's probably where I would land. What Spanish language influences have you pulled from to develop your own personal style?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you about this. I did not know until all this that we had, Spanish language broadcasting, except for baseball. In Venezuela, baseball is huge in Venezuela, so I knew that broadcasting existed for baseball. I knew that broadcasting Spanish existed for soccer, but for American football, until I started doing my research, then I saw that Danny White came from University of Central Florida, which there's another Venezuelan who does the Spanish broadcast for the Knights. Then I was like, okay, Miami has been doing it for 30 years, but it never reached Tennessee.
Right.
So now that I have Ruben Pizarro, now I have Pedro Luna from Texas A&M. I have Mr. Vasquez from Oklahoma, that now we get to, I listen to their plays. Some of our games were at noon, and then Texas were playing at 7. So Ruben would tune into mine. He would text me during the broadcast. I would tune into him, because at the end of the day, he's been doing it 34 years. Yeah. This is year 1 for me. And broadcasting, from what I've been learning, it's like a classroom. Me and you could be teaching Spanish. We could be teaching the exact same class, but the delivery is a little bit different. We could have the same board. If you had your board and you copied yours and you gave it to me, and I had the exact same notes that you had, the delivery, the tone of voice, Fuad would tell me, Carlos, you can make a 2-yard gain sound like we just scored a touchdown, and it was just a 2-yard gain. And that's what I heard from John Ward. Everything that needed to be exciting was exciting. And Mr. Bob Keston was the same way. Anything that needed to be, when it needed to be, hey, we're just doing this, a little penalty. Hey, let's talk about this penalty or whatever. But everything's in Spanish a little bit different. We're, the telenovela, we're the soap opera. We're very, it's fiery the whole time. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's why I bring up the goal, because as a kid, familiar with those clips, I guess, from ABC Wide World of Sports.
Oh yeah.
You do that in the backyard if you're messing around with your friends. I think the initial call that you had that kind of started this, I don't know that you could have gotten it more right, which is why I'm jealous, because muck around for 6 years in student radio, like, oh, that sucked. Yeah. And yet, number one that you pull out just on a lark to have some fun for your own inspiration. Not knowing the ins and outs of the language, but from an enthusiasm standpoint, and certainly, Dale says.
I remember,
it's tough to get that right on your first. Hey, I'm just messing around.
And I didn't even know. Are you talking about the UTSA first?
No, I'm talking about you having fun on social media.
I got what you're saying. What you're saying. Yes, I didn't even know that was going to do something like that. I was just having fun and making it sound like, hey, this would sound good. But when you fast forward a little bit and you actually do the first ever Spanish official broadcast for Tennessee against UTSA, in the first play, it's an 80-yard run by Melton, and that play gets a spot on the SEC network. Crazy viral, and then Dale says is, they call in Spanish.
Compare your nerves. Broadcast number one, for this one-off versus UTSA, versus taking the field for the first time against Bentley. What were you more nervous for? Or were you nervous for either? Cool as a cucumber.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think kicking a PAT, I think kicking a field goal in a game, it's a little bit more nerve-wracking. Just up until that follow-through.
Sure.
But in the broadcast booth, it's just us. But I did not know that during the UTSA game, we were doing a thing, and then 2 of the ADs were behind us just watching the whole thing, and I was just like, I looked back and I was like, oh, okay. And one of our former ADs, she was a very amazing helper, Dr. Monica LeBron. She's Puerto Rican. So she, Carlos, this resonates with me so much with our culture, and that's Vamos Vols was created to unite and not divide. I mean, you're talking on Saturdays, nobody cares about your background. Nobody cares about language. Nobody cares about, everybody just cares about one color and supporting one team. And it's now become something that now English speakers have now downloaded Duolingo and Rosetta Stone, and now they want to learn Spanish. That way they can tune in, and that's what it is. It's just giving a different option. Yeah. You know, you want to listen to Mr. Mike Keith? I've listened to Mr. Mike Keith. I listen to him call the time games. You know, I'm excited for him to be here. But hey, now you have an option here too. There is now every single person that I know knows a Spanish-speaking person. Many Spanish-speaking people here now are also bilingual that also speak English. This is about, how do I say this? This is about belonging. We have so many Latinos that are here, like my family. There's a lot of people that have migrated that are here now. The messages that I receive now are from college students that didn't know where they identified as, because their parents were from a Hispanic country, but they were born here in the United States. So they didn't know, man, am I American, am I Latino? Yeah. And I've received messages from college students, 22, 23, grad students. One of them right now, he's in the MBA college, Haslam at UT. He's from El Salvador. He says, through Vamos Vols is the reason why I now can say I can be both. And that's exactly what Vamos Vols was created to do.
When did you get a sense that you were having an impact in that capacity of uniting people?
When our Chancellor, Donde Plowman, I am at the Vols shop getting ready to film an episode with our women's soccer team. We had 2 Mexican Americans in our women's soccer team. And I get a tap on my shoulder, hey, somebody wants to meet you. And it's Donde Plowman. And then she started joking with me and stuff. Are you the guy that translated Rocky Top to Spanish? And I said, yes, ma'am. And she said, I thank you so much for what you're doing. The impact that you're making. And I was not, we haven't even done a first ever Spanish broadcast. She said, what you're doing for the university without being a staff of the university is huge. And that's what, you know, being a graduate of the University of Tennessee. So I graduated from here, got a master's degree at Middle Tennessee, and then I went on and got a second master's degree at UT. So, and those are the only schools. Hey, Carlos, what are your favorite schools? I only have 3 schools that I pull for. I don't pull for anybody else. I don't care. You know, even Ruben is my boy now from Texas. I don't care about Texas sports. I care about Ruben. But there's only 3 schools that I'll pull for, and that's Carson-Newman, Middle Tennessee, and that's it, and UT.
How did you bring up being a fan of Carson-Newman? How did Carson-Newman prepare you for what you're going through now?
I think I told you outside when we met the president of Carson-Newman. If I didn't go through Carson-Newman, I would have been lost now. Everything that I learned here, I gave my life to Christ here in 2008, Adam. We're about to get serious right here now.
Go for it,
So
baby.
I hope that everybody's ready to listen to the truth. I gave my life to Christ here at Carson-Newman August the 4th of 2008 when we had a guest speaker in the cafeteria. From 2008 until 2011, and especially after that sophomore year that I had here, you know, they were putting me on a little ranking of Division II kickers that could potentially play in the NFL, blah, blah, blah. I graduate. From 2008, even though I gave my life to Christ, it was still about where am I going to go? It was all, and I mean, and every time is Ken Sparks like, how's your heart? We're a team. But that selfish thought from 2008 until 2013, Adam, I graduated from here. It was still all about me. 2012 at Middle Tennessee, I had a fantastic season at Middle Tennessee State. I mean, you're talking pro day, I'm talking directly to the Green Bay Packers, Jacksonville Jaguars. I ended up playing in the Arena Football League. Fantastic season in Middle Tennessee. It was still about me. Made some choices in that time, that landed me to have a daughter in 2013. I was 23 years old when my daughter, and I met her for the first time. I tell her every day, she's 12 years old now. I said, I know that God used you to change my life. That day that she was born, April the 2nd of 2013, that's the day that I said, my life is no longer about me. My life is about what I can do for others. And at that time, the others was my daughter.
Yeah.
You know, my life is about you. And ever since I made that decision in 2013, I went through some, you know, a lot of people know now that my daughter is from a past relationship. You know, she lives with her mother. We share custody. From 2013 until 2018, I went through the lowest that a man can go through. I went through the lowest of the lowest to fight for custody of my daughter.
Yeah.
And when all that was said and done in 2018, I said, God, and even then in 2010, I said, God, if you get me through this, I will work with you. I will work for you for the rest of my life. I said, if, okay, this is serious and this is real right here now. 2018, everything gets settled. You know, custody of my daughter. We're sharing time, and my daughter's with me. And hey, you said you was going to work for me, and from 2018
It's time.
until now, everything that I do is to glorify the Lord. And I mean, and still I gotta put it in my head a little bit, because people tell me, Carlos, you have to give credit to yourself. And it's a little bit hard because of what I've been through. I know what God has done in my life. I know that this position to be able to bring Spanish broadcast to one of the largest brands of college athletics, and it's me, an immigrant, an 11-year-old boy, it's a blessing.
I am a fan of the thought of the Lord works in mysterious ways, and you don't always know.
You don't?
What path is being set forth. You have to have a degree of trust. Foundationally, you've gone on this short or long journey. I say short because in the grand scheme of things, it felt, I'm sure, long as it was happening, but in the grand scheme of life, hopefully it's but just a fraction of your life lived on this planet. How much of the foundation for that was set with things that you learned while here in this building from Ken Sparks, from Mike Whitley, from Mike Turner, that you saw in the moment, but now you're applying a decade later?
Everything is that foundation now.
Quick.
Everything is that foundation now. It's from the people that I come in contact with. Well, we talked about it here. We're not even supposed to call ourselves Christians. People are supposed to call us that by the way that we behave, by the way that we treat others. And I mean, I literally have people come up to Carlos, there's something about you, the energy that you bring when you come into a room. I don't go up to somebody and say, hey, do you believe in Jesus? I don't do that. And I learned that here. But I mean, and I know that we have players here because I was that player that we were just sitting in the meeting room. We were just sitting in the meeting room, just listening because we wanted to play. But you want to talk about a foundation? From 2008 to 2011, everything that I've learned here from Coach Whitley, from Coach Turner, from Coach Needs, from Ken Sparks, it was one thing. It was one thing, and it's God must be in the lead. God sent His only Son for that whoever believes in Him shall not perish but have eternal life. It should be no longer us who live, but Christ who lives in us. And I mean, and you're talking about now everything that I go through, which has been great. But everything that I've gone through in the past, now it just goes to that in every circumstance, in every situation, we must give thanks, for that is God's will for us in Christ Jesus. And That set that foundation. I got a Bible here in 2008 from Scott Gallion. Here, I still have that same Bible. I didn't remember scripture before, but now our answers must not be from us. Our answers must come from the truth. When people, hey Carlos, how did you do Vamos Vols? I didn't do Vamos Vols. God was using me. God is still using me for His purpose and for His will. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. But it's still such a. This industry is a unique industry. And I'm willing to bet that you have. Being on air is one of the most unique rushes I think somebody can experience to describe something live. And for somebody like yourself, you are a collegiate kicker, a teacher, one of the most noble professions out there, taught high school Spanish for this. I mean, still do. Yeah. When did you sense that God was calling you to this unique and complete, aside from the language, completely different path from, again, teaching? I'm the son of 2 elementary school principals. Yeah. I love teachers. Yeah. It is built into me to love teachers. When did you feel God was calling you to a different, I shouldn't say a different direction, but to do this?
Well, you mentioned it earlier when you were talking about we started seeing the Latino population grow in East Tennessee. You're talking Lenoir City, you're talking Morristown, you're talking Loudoun, you're talking Knox County schools. You know, you go to Lonsdale, that's 92% Hispanic. Yeah. You go to Sevier County. At Sevier County Junior High and Sevier County High School, they're 52% Hispanic. At Morristown, you got to learn Spanish to come up here to Morristown. And then I started seeing that and being in the building. And this is what I started at Alcoa, coaching in 2014. Obviously had to leave the high school and coaching because of NCAA and recruiting conflict. But in 2018, I started seeing ESL programs grow. And I was being invited by administrators and teachers, hey, can you come and speak to our 5-7 ESL students that are Spanish speaking? And then I started seeing administrators, I started seeing teachers that were not being represented for the Latino youth. And I don't know what it is. Adam, you can ask my wife. I've always told my wife and I've always told my mom, I've always felt that I was meant for something huge. I'm sitting here right now, like we're getting ready to start the second year of Vamos Vols, and I'm feeling like I need to go call the NCAA championship. I need to call an NFL game. I need this platform because I want to reach more people. I want my students, I want people to see, wait a minute, that guy speaks my language. Wait a minute, that guy's from my country. You don't think there's more Venezuelans here? I'm not the only Venezuelan. No. Wait a minute, that Venezuelan did this? I want the youth to see. I want our students to see. I want the admin at the University of Tennessee to see, wait a minute, this is one of our graduates. Carson-Newman, you invited me over here. Wait a minute. This is our kicker from Carson-Newman. And now he's the Spanish broadcaster for Tennessee Athletics. That's what we're meant to do. Everywhere that we're supposed to go, we are supposed to leave our mark. Now, talking about that foundation, the mark is God guiding you in that place and you leaving that. There's 2 legacies that we can leave behind. You can either leave a legacy for Adam or you can leave a legacy for Jesus Christ. Yeah. If that makes sense.
It does.
Okay? The legacy that I'm trying to leave is Carlos represented us well. Because at the end of the day, I work for God. I've been telling this story for a long time.
He just appeared again on the TV screen. It faded away from the Sparks graphic.
When it comes back up,
you can go back to it. But I'm going to go back to it now because it is one of the the hallmarks and tenets that I learned from Ken Sparks as a coworker, and that's maximizing yourself to glorify.
Yes.
Doing that is one of the most God-honoring things that one can do, and it sounds like that is evident in pretty much everything that you do.
Now,
Is that a fair statement?
oh, it's a fair statement. It's a fair statement. From that moment on that I said, God, I work for you. It's at anywhere that I go, any radio station that I've been at, everywhere that I've been invited to. Again, there it is.
Yeah, there we go again.
If football can be used as a tool to bring people to the Lord, then it has done something. If it hasn't, we haven't done a thing, no matter how many games we've won. And I mean, that right there, I don't care about wins. I don't, that to me, you know, to just hint one of our quarterbacks left, right? Mm-hmm. That to me nothing hits me like that. I've been through college athletics. I've seen people leave. I've seen people come. This NIL stuff, we didn't have NIL. That to me, good for you. You get money, that's no problem. Yeah. That is, when people, I hit rock bottom, Adam. Mm-hmm. I was at the lowest that a man could be, okay? I've seen, well, I've told this story, but I'll tell it here. I walked with Jesus for about 12 hours when I was going through this trouble. I've seen things that, and I'll tell you this, God is faithful to the faithful. We can't just walk around and say, hey man, I work for you, but not walk it. And then God say, hey man, I got you this. You can't be that way. You want God to be faithful? We must be faithful. Everywhere that I go, just here in a little bit, August the 22nd, I'm the guest speaker for the Bearden Rotary Club for their opening of UT football. Yeah. Why me? I don't know, but I'm going to leave my mark there as well. I'm going to represent the university. Everybody knows that I went to Carson-Newman, Middle Tennessee, UT. It's all, I mean, you're talking it's 2025. Oh, Carlos, you went to Carson-Newman, right? We are leaving a legacy for Jesus.
I want to talk about your personal legacy, if nothing else than to make you just a touch uncomfortable.
Okay.
You know, I've had the camera. We've shot a few episodes today of the podcast. So people have asked, "Who are you interviewing?" I've told them the list, and I want to know how it makes you feel. That when I say, "Oh yeah, we're bringing on Carlos Lopez, Spanish voice of the Vols," oh, why are you interviewing him? Oh, you didn't know that he was an all-sack kicker here, and this is to players around the building. Yeah. So how does it make you feel for the youth, or at least the casual Carson-Newman football player that is a Tennessee fan, maybe nascent, or at least is clued into social media in the area, that you are now Spanish voice of the Vols, and that's what you're known as, that's where you're recognized as, instead of
an all-sack kicker.
How's that feel?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's, if I can make this a correlation, when I started all this with our Latin American athletes and our Latin American staff at the university, some of those episodes came out, some of those interviews came out, and people were like, whoa, we didn't know that she was Hispanic, or we didn't know that he was Hispanic. Now with the internet, I have, some of my students and stuff, they Google, Lopez, you kicked this field goal, and you did this, you did that. I didn't know that I was still in the record book in 18 categories here at Carson-Newman. But if we're going to go back, Mike Turner will be the same way. In the aspect, like, yep, it's just the kicker. We were supposed to come over here, do our job. If we got any other accolades, that was fantastic. I think if I remember correctly, that 2009 season, I was actually working for Airmark, and we had our banquet here. I was serving everybody food. I had my tuxedo on, And there was a basketball game going on, I think, and they were giving out the awards. I think I got like 13 awards that year. Most points in a season, best percentage, all-sack selection, and I got like 13 awards, special teams player of the year. So I still got those somewhere. But, you know, to hear like, why are you interviewing him? Hey, we did our job in silence. We did our job in silence.
I say it slightly tongue-in-cheek, but it is nice to see the success and what was just I saw the initial post when you posted it on Facebook. It's nice to see how it has blossomed for you, and both how you represent yourself and at least your first alma mater.
Oh, I mean, I appreciate it. You know, Carson-Newman will always be a special place for me. You know, now we all play on Saturday, so it's a little bit hard to, you know, get up here. But especially on our bye week or something, if we have a game here, I'm gonna, you know, make it a priority.
I'll have a credential set aside just for you.
Okay. That way we can come up here and, you know, start being more involved with this. Middle Tennessee's been the same way. You know, they put me up and. Because I did the sports management program there, so they've kind of like, wow, you know, one of our graduates is, you know, Spanish voice of Tennessee athletics, and it's been expanding. I'm gaining a lot of respect from many people at the university. You know, John Cronin, you know, Danny White. Danny White saw me the other day at Lindsey Nelson. He said, Carlos, keep on doing a great work. But it's because we're not just focusing on one sport. It's not just football. Yes, we're only broadcasting football officially, but through the different outlets, we get to embrace and we get to love on the rest of the university, on the rest of the athletics. Now it's not just athletics. Now is the World Language Department. We're getting ready to start some episodes where it's the day in the life of. So now we're going to be interviewing 16 different international foreign language professors within the University of Tennessee. And we get to, hopefully we're working on a partnership with WVLT, which is the official station of the Vols. They have the Telemundo affiliate. That way our episodes that are in Spanish now get put on Telemundo, and now we're, you know, nationwide and international.
Obviously, on Saturdays, we want you tuning into the Eagle Sports Network. However,
Absolutely.
When Tennessee's not playing, when Carson-Newman is, how can people tune into Vamos?
When Carson-Newman is not playing at the same time that UT is, and you would like to listen to Tennessee football in Spanish, if you're in Knoxville, then we go through WNML AM 990, the Sports Animal. We go through the Sports Animal app, all of our streaming there on the alternate channel, and we're also on all the streaming through the Tennessee Athletics website, utsports.com, and the UT Athletics app.
Beautiful. Let's close on that note. Carlos, pleasure. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you, my brother.
Carlos Lopez, Spanish voice of the Tennessee Volunteers. I'm the voice of the Eagles, Adam Cavalier. This has been another Mossy Creek Conversation. Thanks for joining us.